What was that incident during Thanksgiving? My dad had an allergic reaction to shrimp cocktail before dinner and his face blew up. He refused to come out of the kitchen or sit at the table with us. He was just eating his food in the kitchen and trying to act like things were normal, like yelling out, "Hey, good mashed potatoes this year, huh?" Meanwhile, my mom is anger crying at the table, telling us to just eat our fucking food that she worked all day on. All of us kids are just very scared and very confused. My sister starts crying because things are so weird and no one wants to eat because there is so much tension. Eventually, my mom convinces my dad that she needs to take into the My high school senior aged brother took the bottle of wine and shared it with 7th grade me and got me drunk for the first time. My parents came home to me throwing up on the bathroom floor. I was around 5 to 6 years old. Us kids were playing hide and seek and I hid way in the back of grandma's closet. While I was hiding back there, I found this beautiful deep red robe. I assumed it belonged to my grandfather who died just after I was born. I tried it on and it was huge on me, but the silk felt really smooth and cool, so I decided to go ask my grandma if I could have it to grow into. Turns out Grandad was a grand dragon in the Kerala in a KKK, and it was his ceremonial robe. The family members who didn't know about this already were highly upset. The ones who knew were embarrassed as hell. There was a small riot when I walked into the kitchen wearing it. That was an awkward Thanksgiving. A family friend, who happened to be lesbian, thought it would be a good idea to carry at least 20 plates across the living room. As one could expect, she dropped all of the plates onto the floor. Then my grandfather, who barely knows this friend, says the most infamous words in our family's history. "You know those lesbians. Slippery fingers." I was probably 6 or 7 at the time. My mom's candles caught the kitchen curtains and some decorative greenery on fire. My sister and my cousins and I were at the kids' table in the kitchen, while the adults were in the dining room, so no one of significance noticed anything except me. My mom threatened us with pain of death if we annoyed the adults during dinner, so I quietly walked to the dining room and stood silently for a minute or two until someone noticed me, and only then did I politely say, "Sorry, but the kitchen's on fire." My mom still gives me grief about my prioritizing politeness over sense. I heard some screaming from outside my apartment. I opened the door and saw this lady running to the dumpster with a turkey still in the pan on fire. She threw it into the dumpster, which then caught fire. I called 911 so the fire department could put it out. So 25 years ago my son was born early November. My mom's family is all prim and proper. So my adopted brother takes my 2-week-old son to check his diaper during dinner. Comes back with diaper in hand saying it doesn't look right. Proceed to smell it, said something is wrong. So he tasted it. Everyone is flipping out. He filled a clean diaper with pumpkin pie filling. It was hilarious. Not really a negative incident, but we left my one aunt in charge of cooking the turkey. Fast forward a couple of hours and we're all playing cards when someone mentions, "Wait, why don't we smell the turkey?" Yep, she completely forgot to turn on the oven and let it sit there for about 5 hours with no heat. We had pizza that year. When I was a little kid, I asked to say the prayer. It was a big honor to get to say it. My family was notorious for fighting, so I said my little prayer all nice and cute, then ended with the smartest "God please let my family act normal today and not fight." Before I could blink, my German grandmother slapped me across the face really hard, which pissed my mother off. Lots of yelling and we left. Obviously God said no to that prayer. One Thanksgiving my older brother took over cooking duties. He had just graduated from culinary school and was an amazing chef. My aunt and cousins came over to find a juicy turkey and amazing sides. She likes her turkey burned apparently and made her family not eat the dinner. They all watched us eat. My mom was so pissed they never got invited back to our house for any event for years. Last Thanksgiving was absolutely the worst. My extended family live in another state, so it was just me and my parents. My mom was pissed at my stepdad for various reasons, so she stayed in her room all day. My stepdad and I awkwardly ate in silence while watching The Godfather. Then after dinner he had a heart attack. He died in the hospital a few days later. My mom was crushed that he was gone. and crushed at how she treated him in their last few days together. That was last year. I'm not excited to see what this year brings. My mother and grandmother had plans to go to a restaurant last year. My sister convinces them to go somewhere else at last minute. Of course this means no reservations, but sister is convinced that it'll be fine and they might just have to wait a few minutes for a table. I live in another state, so I get to experience all of this from a distance. They end up sitting at the bar while waiting for a table, having a few drinks and appetizers. After the second round of martinis, my mother looks over and my grandmother is leaning back in her chair, completely limp and unresponsive. Everyone freaks out. Paramedics are called. Grandma is rushed to the ER. I'm 1,200 miles away when my mother calls to tell me what happened. At this point grandma is at the ER, still unresponsive, crazy low blood pressure and high heart rate. I'm ready to book plane tickets and rush to the airport when mom calls back, don't worry, everything's okay, your grandmother just got drunk. Her blood test came back completely normal, except with a BAC of 0.24, 3x legal limit. She was awake now, so I got to talk to her, and she was crying, I'm so sorry, I've ruined Thanksgiving. I assured her that she hasn't ruined Thanksgiving, and that everyone is just happy she's okay. So my grandma is 90 years old, about 4 feet 8 inches, 100 lbs. She hadn't eaten anything all day because she knew they were having a big dinner. She also ordered another martini while no one was looking, so the second martini was actually her third. This turned into the perfect storm of really drunk grandma. My oldest sister called another sister a fat bitch over some stupid fight they've been having for years, who then in turn picked up the bowl of green bean casserole and threw it at her. She missed, it wasn't that far, but I guess she was really angry and that messed up her aim, and it ended up hitting my mother's favorite painting. It wasn't salvageable. We all stopped having Thanksgiving with the entire family after that. I thought it would be a funny prank to put a rubber chicken in the oven on Thanksgiving. My mom would laugh and laugh. Ho ho ho, there's a rubber chicken in the oven. What a gag. 13-year-old me didn't realize that normal adults usually preheat the oven before putting the turkey in. My brother, 10, decides to demonstrate how to properly body slam himself onto a bed to the cousins. Proceeds to hit his head on the windowsill behind the bed and crack his head open. We could see skull. Cousin passes out, and the parents only console the kid, who passes out 15 stitches later. We got to eat dinner. My grandpa and grandma got divorced, and grandpa remarried. One Thanksgiving, my not so well grandpa stood and declared he regretted letting my grandma divorce him, and that it was the biggest mistake of his life, right in front of his current wife. Edit. Holy shit, sorry, I didn't realize people would give a fuck. What happened next? What did this outburst of drama culminate to? Nothing. He sat back down. Old wife chuckled nervously. We continued with speeches. Yes, this was during the "what are you thankful for" roundabout, and all tried to act like it didn't happen. Everyone was thanking the current wife for taking care of him and everything she does. Lots of love, but she was visibly upset/disappointed. Now, many years later, he's in a nursing home and she's not. I was 8 and hanging out with an older family friend. She was about 13. For some reason my very drunk and high aunt thought that this family friend was turning me against my cousin, her daughter, and bursts into the house screaming at her about this. Then said aunt got into a fist fight with another aunt in the front yard. Yeah, we stopped seeing that side of the family for a while. I was only a toddler at the time, but Thanksgiving is known as the anniversary of the day my mother, father, and uncle outed one another as heroin addicts. Life fell apart fairly rapidly the following year, and it has been fun ever since. Thanksgiving is now just a small family affair of myself, my brother, and my guardian grandparents. Incident: I hadn't seen my parents in 2 years because I lived really far away. They had dinner at my oldest friend's family's house every year, without anyone except my friend knowing. I flew to where he lives, and we drove together to his parents' house in time for dinner. We drove up to the house and I saw my unsuspecting parents in the window, drinking wine and having a few appetizers with my friend's unsuspecting parents. I'm smaller than my friend, so I hid behind him. When we walked in the door, He went in and was greeted by excited hellos. Then I walked out from behind and everyone froze in surprise. I felt very loved. Someone will say pass the dinner rolls in front of my dad and he will pick it up and throw it at them every single year. You have to specifically say please hand me the dinner rolls or you get a bun thrown at your head. Thanks for watching. Be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe to be entered into our iMac giveaway.